Timothy missed an assignment worth 30% of his grade, and the teachers weren't mad, but they were confused. How there's a guy in uni spending so much money to not do any work? What was he doing for the past month? Before you feel bad for him, know this. Whenever he would think of doing work during the day, he would end up on social media somehow, and at night, he's on the hub. Now look at Aries. He just handed in the perfect assignment. He created a masterpiece, and he looks at Timothy and thinks, why is this guy so average? And he realizes the guy is addicted to everything soul destroying. Aries goes home and ponders why. Aren't you curious, my friends, why Timothy and you are destroying your life? And I do have a cure, my friend. Listen throughout the video very carefully and take some notes. This will be the right step to breaking free from any addiction. To begin with, you need to understand that your brain always craves dopamine, and it will do whatever it takes to get as much of it as possible. So once you experience high levels of happy emotion, your brains will focus on seeking out more of the stimulus and will manipulate you to do so. Once your brain starts to use the stimulus too much, it becomes desensitized to the dopamine effects, meaning that you're forced to become even more dependent on the stimulus, which will lead you into a deep hole, which is almost impossible to get out of. Let's take jacking off as an example, because somehow 1 in 6 people struggle with their addiction to beat their meat. To be fair, I shouldn't really be that surprised, because I know too many people who won't last a day without nutting. But anyways, the first time Timothy here lets out one, his brain feels a high level of dopamine, which instantly starts a cycle of addiction. But of course, Timothy thinks that he's only going to try it once and never do it again. But that was far from the truth. In fact, his brain manipulates him to doing it again 2 days after the first time, and once again, his dopamine levels skyrocket. A week goes by, and touching his piece has become a part of his daily lifestyle. But how did it happen so quickly? One of the right answers would be he's a weak-minded little geek. But during that week, Timothy compares himself to others who hit 2 sets of nutting daily without any rest days. This makes Timothy feel like he isn't addicted, and he can control himself much better than others. And if you have more than 2 brain cells, then I'm pretty sure you know he's lost himself to addiction. Like Timothy, you're probably watching this thinking that you have self-control over everything you do. So to make you realize how vulnerable you are to addiction, I've discovered the 3 stages of addiction, so pay attention to each one and see how deep in the hole you fell. Stage 1. In the first stage, it's hard to say that you're even addicted, but whatever you could be addicted to has just been introduced to your life. You probably have so much fun doing it, and it's something that you look forward to doing whenever you have the time to. In your head, since it's not in your lifestyle, you don't think that you should be worried about getting addicted to it. But remember, although this stage doesn't seem bad, it's the start of an endless cycle of addiction, which is why if you want to even think about being in the top 1%, you should treat these dopamine rushes as a problem and be cautious of how frequently you are doing it. Stage 2. In this stage, drinking, smoking, watching porn, any of the addictions that you may have is already part of your lifestyle. This doesn't mean you do it every day, it just means that you're in the development stages of it becoming an addiction. You probably feel annoyed when someone calls you out for doing it too much, but deep down you think you can easily stop it if you want. Now, if any of these statements are true to you, then you're in the early stages of transforming into an insignificant man, but this is not too hard to break free from. Stage 3. Now you've become a serious addict, when you can't go about your daily life without doing the thing you're addicted to, and suddenly you become annoyed and angry. These mood swings happen all the time now, and it gets to the point where you start fighting the people that are worried about you on how addicted you are. In this stage, your life is dominated by the addiction, which is called salience. Some people who are in this stage of addiction claim that they're feeling a buzzing sensation, so if you can relate to this, then you should seriously make a change now. To be frank, it'll be hard for you to completely stop or even reduce the addiction. But, as I'm a great man, I'll explain some ways to overcome the addiction, so stay tuned. However, here I'm not kidding. Most of you guys are probably in stage 1 or stage 2 of the addiction. And do know that you're not the only weak-minded person on earth. I was. For me, social media was a big issue in my life. I had to be constantly on it. The guy next to you probably was a weed addict, but don't start feeling happy about this, as it goes to show that you're no different from the rest. Just think about it. 16% of men are predicted to struggle with corn addiction in 2019. Studies suggest that 30% of people residing in the United States who are addicted to social media, and an addiction to smoking, alcohol and drugs has been rising at an alarmingly fast rate in the UK. Not only to mention, there are infinitely more sources of addiction which anyone can be affected by. What you should take away from this is that you simply cannot be like the rest of your competitors who cannot stay focused on their goal, which is why I have formulated a few effective ways to combat most types of addiction. But remember, depending on the stage that you think you're in, your will control is very important. Your discipline is more important than anything I give you right now. But these are just the best supplements to help you eliminate addiction out of your life. It won't be as simple as just deleting a game from your phone or blocking those inappropriate websites, because let's be honest, you know that you'll be always able to unblock that site or re-download that game. So I created this method, a very simple method, a small game, I would say, a level up bar on a piece of paper where every day I didn't use social media, I leveled up, and when I did use it, I'd go back. Now, what was the reward for making me level up? Well, I could take money out of my account and use it on the second thing, which got rid of my social media addiction, a new pursuit. The money would fund my pursuit. And I believe for most of you guys, finding an activity or a skill that you want to develop will keep your brain distracted from cravings, that source of addiction, like learning a different language, cooking, or you could even create a new workout routine. This will keep you on the right path, taking your brain away from the addiction. Hopefully you realize that addiction can easily ruin your chances of becoming the best version of yourself. So if you found this helpful, like the video and comment how you think people can stay away from addiction. And last of all, please support me and build this community up by hitting that subscribe button.